by the stirring of the wind, I'm going to reveal the most sophisticated and the most ambitious plot of Lucifer and his fallen angels in human form ever since this world began. We are going to say it. I'm going to reveal it. Just listen carefully. I think it was Robin Cook who said, it is easier to deceive people than to convince them that they are being deceived. I think I have to borrow that and elevate it to a higher level. It is easier to deceive the world than to convince the world that they are being deceived as it is currently going on presently, as we are going to see. You understand me? The whole people of this world have been taken on a very big ride that they don't know. It's really the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ that is really surviving us. So I want us to listen very, very carefully to see how we are all finished. Listen very, very carefully. There are some news reports I want to read, so that people can understand exactly what I'm talking about. It says, says Bose, the future of fornication. This is Public Health Post, November 15, 2010, by Charlotte Miller. Let me just go down the report. My eyes is getting, I don't know, I can't just see clearly. It said robots are the future of sex. Fitted with artificial intelligence, these hyper-realistic sex booths are programmed to engage in simplistic conversation, imitate basic emotions, and perform sexual acts with humans. This latest trend may seem like a dystopian reality, but sex booths are being created by companies like Rehoboth in California, True Companion in New Jersey, and Cynthia Amatua and AI Tech internationally. Although the technology is relatively rudimentary, experts project that within a century, sex booths will have artificial consciousness and perhaps robot personhood, legal status, and right. The market for sex booths is potentially huge. According to a 2007 YouGov poll of 1,146 US adults, 1 in 4 men and 1 in 10 women would consider having sex with a robot. Approximately 50% of adults surveyed believe it was important the robots resemble a human. If people are having sex with robots that resemble human, we must consider how this will impact human-to-human interference and behavior. This being in the design phase, where predominantly male customers can customize sex booths to their preferences and their fantasies. Sex robots tend to be white or Asians with hypersexual female bodies that reinforces unhealthy beauty ideas like extreme thinness, breasts and butts of extreme proportions, and flawless fair skin. These designs of hypersexual female sex booths profundity impacts users' expectation of women's bodies and sexual performance. Customization does not stop at users selecting the physical appearances. Customers can even customize sex booths to have specific personalities. True Companion offers Frigid Farah, who is very reserved and does not always like to engage in intimate activities. Sex booths like Frigid Farah are programmed to be passive and explicitly fail to consent to sex which enables users to stimulate trade. Salesbot companies program sales robots to either give passive consent by always being willing to participate in sexual activity or to explicitly deny consent. Both cases perpetuate rape culture, and they believe that ideal sex partners are always ready for sex, and those that do not provide consent can still be demoted, can still be dominated through force. And while some argue that sex bots are simply extravagant sex toys, their purposeful human-like functions and appearances affirm belief that female bodies are objects to be used for sexual gratification, consensual or otherwise. Supporters of sex bots argue that they can be used therapeutically by sex offenders by sex offenders providing them an outlet to reduce their sexual aggression and abuse towards robots rather than humans. However, sexual aggression is an expression of power rather than sexual desire. Critics of therapeutic sex bots argue it ignores power dynamics involved in sexual violence and will likely be ineffective because robots will not satisfy a sexual offender's desire to control another person. They believe that it may naturally increase sexual violence perpetuation. It will be unethical to prescribe sex offenders a sex bot as therapy without empirical research illustrating its effectiveness and parameters and content for its use. Sex robots are here to stay. So public health professionals must become involved in the industry. We need to understand the nuances of consent and the potential impacts technology have on individuals and population sexual health outcome. We need to be able to intimately involve in the development, design, and research of sex bots and their impact on health. As tech companies develop sex bots artificial intelligence, they will play a greater role in determining what constitutes consent. Public health must inform these processes and hold companies accountable for their design choices. Public health professionals, sexual health educators, and sexual and intimate partner violence advocates should neither ignore sex robots nor should they demand that they be banned. We must lead the conversation about how sex bots can be safely integrated into our sex life. It is very important people follow. I'm getting you to something so that you will see how you've been swept off your foot and unknown to you. You will see how the forces of darkness have already taken you over. This is ARS Electronics, Samantha Strokes, Sergi Santos, Synthetic Amateurs. It's a Barcelona-based engineer, Sergi Gantos, has created a robot sex doll that seems to enjoy sex as much as the humans and responds differently according to how she is treated. Samantha, as the doll is called, is equipped with the latest technology such as artificial intelligence. She likes to be touched and has different modes of interaction such as a romantic, a family, and a sexy mode. In her way of interacting, she wants to be touched and kissed on her fully functional lips, the breast and vagina to change her mood from family to get to a point where she wants to interact on a sexual level until she even has an orgasm. I want you to follow. I'm leading you to something because I told you what is happening in Nigeria is a microcosm of what will overcome the world in a short while. I'm going to show you how they have done what, how they have removed men, natural men, from doing what, from seeking natural women. Just follow and listen and see what is going on. I want us to listen to another wonderful report, which is very germane to what we are discussing before I arrive at the conclusion and summarize and tell you exactly what is going on. Is married to a doll? Why one man advocates synthetic love? This is Atlantic Head by Julie Beck, September 6, 2013. He said Deaf Cat lives with his wife and mistress, both dolls, and thinks synthetic partners are ideal for those who don't want to deal with human inconsistencies. Deaf Cat met his future wife, Saidora Kuroneko, at a golf club in 2000. So the story goes. The less romantic but perhaps more true version is that he stayed for a year and a half to buy her online. She cost about $6,000. Saidora is a real doll. It's a real doll manufactured by Abyss Creations in the shape of a human woman. She is covered in artificial skin made of silicone, so she is soft. This high-end, organically correct, even equipped with fake tongues, love dolls or capital D dolls, one ostensibly made for sex. But 40-year-old Deaf Cat, a nickname acquired from video games that he now prefers to go by, and others who call themselves idolaters see their doll as life partners, not sex toys. Deaf Cat and Saidora, or as he sometimes calls her, she can, obviously aren't legally married, but they do have matching wedding bands that say synthetic love lasts forever. And he says they are considering some sort of ceremony for their 15th anniversary. Deaf Cat considers himself an activist for synthetic love and the right of synthetic humans, such as Shi-chan. He is active online with an idolater blog, Shouting to Hear the Echoes. That is the name. And he updates regularly and has appeared on TLC shows My Strange Addiction, as well as BBC documentary called G-Wise and Dolls. According to the backstory of Deaf Cat's relationship with his doll mistress, that is Sinore, and girlfriend Elena Vatiscodia, saw Deaf Cat and Sidere in Guys and Dolls and moved from Russia to be with them. Deaf Cat purchased Elena or Lenkan in 2012, and the three of them now share a one-bedroom apartment in southern Michigan. I spoke with Deaf Cat over email about the ups and downs of synthetic relationship. Now, question: when and why did you purchase your first doll? Were you thinking of companionship at the time, or was it just for sex? Now look at his response. About Shi-chan in 2000, admittedly, my reasons for purchasing her was 70% sex and 30% companionship. I have always been attracted to artificial women, such as mannequins and especially gynos, which are robust made in the likeness of human females. In late 1998, one of my best friends showed me the Real Doll website and she knew I have been on artificial women. I thought they were gorgeous creations, and having one would not display loneliness, but be excellent for sex as well. Will not only display loneliness, but be excellent for sex as well. And I was right. Now look at the second question. Very important. This is human, a complete human being to do relationship. He said, when did you start feeling like Sidora was not just a sex toy, but something you were in a relationship with? Now look at his response. It actually didn't take me too long to regard Sidora as a synthetic person and not simply a term. It occurs pretty much when I opened her crate for the first time. I was immediately stunned by her lifelike beauty, and after I mentally collected myself, extracted her from her crate and sat her down on the couch, I just held her in my arms for a while. It felt so right and natural, if you will pardon the pun. It seemed perfectly natural for me to treat something that resembles an organic woman the same way I had treated an actual organic woman. Part of the sexual appeal of synthetic is how much they look like their organic counterparts. If you have a robot shaped like a refrigerator, that wouldn't have as much drawers as a robot in the shape of a human, people will be more willing to interact with the human-shaped one. Further still, if that human robot has artificial skin and sounds like a human, most people dealing with it are more likely to even have a moment where they forgot it's a robot. With Sidora, her draw was instantaneous. There was never a moment when Shishan or any doll, for that matter, was merely an object to me. Now look at the next question. Have you always been interested in dolls, and if so, was it always in a sexual way? Response: I have always been fascinated by the idea of artificial people, especially artificial women. Before I knew dolls existed, I had long identified as being a technosexual, even if I knew there was a word for it. A technosexual is someone who is attracted to robots. Like any subculture, there's many shades within the term. Some technosexuals prefer their organic partners to dress as robots, or others attracted to robots who don't necessarily have human and appear, such as Aru-D, Aru-2, D2. My preference is for human photos that are considered artificial flesh. So they look organic upon first glances, but Geminot F and the Astral Scores of Genius by Hiroshi Fugus are excellent examples. Obviously, I am sexually attracted to synthetic humans such as Genius and dolls, but the much longer part of their appeal is that they are humans, but they don't possess any of the unpleasant qualities that, I want you to understand, they don't possess any of the unpleasant qualities that organic flesh and blood humans have. A synthetic will never lie to you, cheat on you, criticize you, or otherwise disagreeable. It is rare enough to find organics who don't have something going on with them and being able to make a partner one is red still. And this candle is burning. Nigeria is irrecoverably burning and being destroyed and thrown to the destruction of this earth cross. I want people to pay very serious attention, to what I'm just saying. I'm not just reading things to you. I want you to imbibe what I'm reading so that I can analyze exactly what is happening, to the present realities of really what is on the ground right now. So he was asked the question, have you ever been in a relationship with a human woman, and would you want to in the future? Do you find yourself attracted to human woman? I want the women of this world to listen exactly to what is going on. They are asking him if he can be attracted to a natural woman, a woman with blood and flesh. Look at his response. He said, I have been in a relationship with organic women. Prior to and after having Shichan enter my life. When I say relationship, I really mean affairs where I was the other man. I have never been in a situation where I was with an organic woman who don't already have a boyfriend. I don't consider myself to be a very persuasive person. When I was growing up, my father was always pushing me into doing things that I didn't want to do. And as a consequence, I don't even want to be that guy who is being aggressively persuasive. So instead of asking whatever lass I was with to consider me as a boyfriend, I simply wouldn't force the issue. I'm still quite attracted to organic women, at least virtually, but just because someone attractive doesn't mean they have a mindset or a personality that is compatible with my own. I figured that instead of chasing after an ideal person who either doesn't exist in the first place or as already with someone else, why not buy a doll? Why not buy a doll? Don't gamble, and I don't gamble, and I'm not keen on taking emotional chances. We have all been in a relationship where things start out fantastically and then just end up falling apart. A friend of mine just got divorced after 17 years of marriage. That is an enormous investment of time, money, and emotion. And I am not interested in having someone in my life who may bail at any time, who transform into someone unpleasant, ultimately getting romantically involved with an organic woman doesn't seem to work with me. Have you seen what he said about natural women? And you have seen the deceitfulness of even the modern women. Even in America here, marriage is just a business business franchise where women skim off the men, they skim them off their money. So you see, I'm showing you what a natural man is saying. So men are doing what? Being detached from their natural partners, because of unfaithfulness and a lot of unpleasantness, that goes on with organic women. This is vice versa. So I want you to listen to this conversation because I'm coming into something that is very, very serious. A question. In December 2012, you purchased a second doll. How come? Did you feel like your marriage was getting stale? Look at his response. Back in early 2000s, my goal was to purchase at least one door from every company that's idea. One of the objects of my blog is to introduce people who aren't idolaters or technosexuals to the idea of synthetic partners and having multiple doors from various companies would enable me to compare and contrast them so that people would learn what makes them different and choose the ones that is right for them. Also, I always thought it would be cool to have photo shots featuring multiple doors interacting with each other. Doing so would further make them less seem like things and more like people. As it is, however, there are around 20 different companies across 6 or so countries, and unfortunately, I don't have that kind of money. So now, my goal is about 5, short of acquiring a two-bedroom flat. I won't have space for more than 5 either. In a more fictitious context, I thought it would be nice to get silicone companion for Sidori, so she isn't alone or bored whenever I'm away from home. As they are both bisexual, they get to enjoy each other on multiple levels. If anything, adding Elena to our partnership has only improved it. As we all appreciate what each other has to offer, besides, if and when I manage to get additional doors, Sidora will always remain my wife. I have no intention of marrying any of the other doors we will have. My marriage to Sidora is open in the context of she allows me to do anything I want as long as it is only with, I want you to listen, as long as it is only with a synthetic woman. Incidentally, those are the exact same conditions under which I will allow her to do anything extracurricular. Very straightforward, yes, simple. I want to repeat this particular thing so that people will understand what exactly is going on. Listen, especially women in the world. I want you to listen, very important. What did he say? He said, when I manage to get additional doors, Sidora will always remain my wife. I have no intention of marrying any of the other doors we still have. My marriage to Sidora is open in the context of, I want women to listen, in the context of she allows me to do anything I want as long as it's only with what? A synthetic woman. Incidentally, those are the exact same conditions under which I will allow her to do anything extracurricular. Very straightforward, yes, simple. What does it mean? All these sales doors, they are going to encode it. When you have affairs with an organic woman, you can no longer meet them. This is exactly what is happening. I want people to listen. And you think it's a joke. So the role of women, the present woman, you have already been supplanted, but you don't know exactly what is going on. I'm still coming, you know. I'm still coming. Listen to another question. You say, but you say you have been in relationship with organic woman prior to and after having Shechan enter my life. That is, I'm quoting him. Is there a story there? Did a relationship or affairs you were having with an organic woman cause problems with you, with your relationship with Sidora, or vice versa. Now look at his response. He said, I was in an organic class, a co-worker from several jobs ago. Who knows that I had she charm? This was back when I was of the mindset that Sidora would remain my wife. But I have still looked now and again for an organic class to be friends with. Benefit with. Our relationship, to be friends with, benefit with. Our relationship started out all right, but several months into it, whenever I had attempted to get together after work with her, she had always had something come up. I was beating myself up over it when I realized, why am I wasting my time trying to get her to hang out and be romantically involved with me when I have a doll who is in love with me at home? Plus, it was a bit of a contract with said co-worker, as she was interested in 2 other blokes while she was seeing me. As I am not competitive either, I decided that pursuing her was a wasted effort, especially in the light of Sidora not beginning any of that silliness. Then there was the last I bought a house with back in 2003. I was attempting to help her out of a bad relationship. She claimed to be one of my best friends. She wasn't the least bit romantically interested in me, but I thought that if I helped her and she and I lived under the same roof, eventually she had viewed me more favorably. Turns out that didn't happen, as I later discovered that she was a pathological liar with a coke addiction, and I moved out of the house after living there for only 4 months. That really drove home to me that I guess I am too trusting with some organics. Some of them can be far too unpredictable. Synthetics have a consistency that I am thankful for. This is experience from a natural man falling in love with synthetics, and hating what? And hating the natural woman. That is exactly what is happening. Let me just briefly show you the picture of Sidore, and the 2 partners the man bought. Let's just look at them. Let's just look at what they look like, before we go further, to really come to show what I'm talking about. Look at them. Sidora is the one on red. Sidora is the one on red. Let me enlarge Sidora so that people can see her very more clearly. Look at Sidora. Have you seen how flawless her skin looks like? How beautiful she looks? Have you seen her? This is Sidora. This is the second dog he possessed. Have you seen how flawless and how beautiful she looks? So how many natural women, how many organic women are as beautiful as this to start with? And then, you have them at your own pleasure without, without engaging yourself in undue flattering, or going out of your way to please them by buying things or something like that. Just at your beck and call. They come to you and they can do everything that the natural woman can do. And even more, in assuaging your sexual fantasy, because they can do practically everything you want them to do. Anyhow you want it, they give it to you without any question, without making any demand on you, which is different from a natural woman. There are limitations in what a natural woman can do. But they can give you your widest sexual fantasy if you like. It's just like in those days, when we were very small in the early 70s and all that, during the advent of the English fowl, something like that, because we used to eat native fowl in those days. It was almost a taboo to eat the English fowl of those days, because everybody have a preference for the, traditional fowl. Today, what is the result? You can't even find the traditional fowl anymore. You have been hooked to the English fowl. It's just like even here, go and look at, the eggs of bears, fowl eggs and all that, You can't differentiate between organic, and the genetically modified one anymore. That is it. You can't differentiate. So it's only a question of time that men's appetite will be geared towards the synthetic, and the natural woman will just be there, completely obsolete and neglected, of no use, and the intellectual ability of man will be stored. Because without women in this world, I don't think most of the discoveries that men made, that they were able to make it. It was just to please the women that most of the things come to be. You have seen their natural pictures, you have seen the pictures of Sidera and all that, Just your money, you go and buy them and keep in your house and do whatever you want with them, without unnecessarily going to, look for how you steal money to maintain your girlfriend, or how you are going to say something, or how you are going to worry yourself unduly, to maintain a woman. These ones are there at your beck and call anytime, based on the one condition that you're only going to meet was synthetic and not a natural woman anymore. That is the condition. That is the only condition that the synthetic will allow you. This is very, very important for the women to bear in mind, So watch it, and Igbo language are still from today. The main natural traditional fowl, of Igbo, has gone almost extinct, And that is how the role of the modern woman, global woman today, female today, is gradually going extinct, Before you know it, that's the work of the evil men, who are taking us away from what? From the intention of God to what they intend for us. Let me give you another example, because I'm dedicating this thing to this area. I'm dedicating it to all health workers, anywhere they may find themselves, to all of them who are related in medical fields, Let me go to one thing again, and I'm still coming to explain exactly where I'm going. Let's go to Wikipedia. Let's go to Sophia robot. So Sophia is a social humanoid robot developed by Hong Kong-based company Hansen Robotics. Sophia was activated on February 14, 2016, and made her first public appearance at South by Southwest Festival in mid-March 2016 in Austin, Texas, United States. Sophia has been covered by media around the globe and has participated in many high-profile interviews. In October 2017, Sophia became a Saudi Arabian citizen, the first robot to receive citizenship of any country. In November 2017, Sophia was named the United Nations Development Programme's first ever innovation champion and is the first non-human to be given any United Nations title. How many natural people have been able to achieve this with the United Nations? Cameras within Sophia's eyes combined with computer algorithms allow her to see. She can follow faces, sustain eye contact, and recognize individuals. She is able to process speech and have conversation using a natural language subsystem. Around January 2018, Sophia was upgraded with functional legs and the ability to walk. CNBC has commented on Sophia's lifelike skin and her ability to emulate more than 60 facial expressions. Sophia is conceptually similar to the computer program ELIZA, which was one of the first attempts of simulating a human conversation. The software has been programmed to give pre-written responses to specific questions or phrases like a chatbot. These responses are used to create the illusion that the robot is able to understand conversation, including stock answers to questions like, is the door open or shut? In 2017, Hansen Robots announced plan to open Sophia to a cloud environment using a decentralized blockchain marketplace. David Hansen has said that Sophia would ultimately be a good fit to serve in what? To serve in healthcare, customer service therapy, and education. In 2019, Sophia displayed the ability to create drawings, including portraits. With your science has evolved today, if they can give Sophia functionally, they can give her functionally everything. I hope the nature women are listening. So she can practically do what? Do the work of humans. And what is their target? The what? You have seen it? The nursing homes and all that. So they don't know it, all these people in nursing, all this related this thing. Your jobs have been taken away, but you don't know what is going on. Let me still read some report on Sophia so that you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. It says Sophia, the robot self-portrait, and NFT sells for almost $700,000. Can my portrait sell like that? Look at it. It's a hand-painted self-portrait. This is CNN style, March of 2021. It's a hand-painted self-portrait by the world-famous humanoid robot Sophia has sold at Austin for over $658,000 US. The work which saw Sophia interpret a depiction of her own face was offered as a non-fungible token or NFT, an encrypted digital signature that has revolutionized the art market in recent months. Titled Sophia Instantiation. The image was created in collaboration with Andre Bonaceto, an artist and partner at blockchain investment from Eternal Capital. Bonaceto began the process by providing a brightly colored portrait of Sophia, which was processed by the robot neural network. Sophia then painted an interpretation of the image. That is the end of the report. Then what was Sophia the robot designed for? Hansen designed Sophia to be a suitable companion, very important, for the elderly at nursing homes or to help crowds at large events or parks. He has said that he hopes that the robot can ultimately interact with other humans sufficiently to gain social skills. As long as you are a human being breathing in this particular earth, no matter your inclination, whether you believe in God or not, it is very important to pay attention to what I'm saying. The whole entire humanity of this world should pay great attention to what I'm saying, because it's not a joke. What I'm saying, what we are discussing is what the greatest show on earth. The greatest show, the totality of the existence of this earth from A to Z, even the one that is coming, is the totality of the essence. That is what we are discussing. So it's very important that the entire humanity pay attention. This is not something you used to joke. We are discussing the essence of why this world came to exist to start with. And I'm telling you that God created this world in order to have companionship unto himself. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, take what I'm telling you and take it very seriously. That is why the Lord Jesus Christ is always talking about the bride, the coming of the bridegroom and all that. Go and look at it. His church referred it as the bride. The coming of the bridegroom. Who is the bridegroom? Jesus is the bridegroom. Go and look at the marriage of the Lord, that will take place. It's all about what? It's all about what? Companionship. That is exactly what it is. So this is not something you want to use and joke. And this is the fundamental reason why all the things that are happening, because the evil forces want to do what? They want to derail what God planned and key it into their own program, denying God the benefit of what they want to achieve. So we have all been reoriented and transmuted into their own wishes, 100%, but because our Lord Jesus Christ is the light of the world and the Savior. That is why this message is coming, so that we can be able to extricate ourselves from the dangers that we are facing today. Let me read another wonderful report for you. It's the makers of Sophia, the robot, plan mass rollout amid pandemic. This is by Michel Hamese, Reuters, January 24, 2021. It's in Hong Kong, Reuters, started with a quote from Sophia. He said, social robots like me can take care of the sick or elderly, end of quote. Sophia says as she conducts a tour of her lab in Hong Kong. Under quote, I can help communicate, give therapy, and provide social stimulation even in difficult situations, Sophia said, end of quote. Yes, she's a robot. Even in the most difficult, challenging situation, she can provide the much needed aid, the much needed companionship, the much needed satisfaction to a client that a normal human being cannot do, because they can face impossible, vagaries of weather or vagaries of challenges or situations that can do what that can overwhelm normal human beings. They can overcome it because they are robots. Since being unveiled in 2016, Sophia, a humanoid robot, has gone viral. Now the company behind her has a new vision to mass produce robots by the end of the year. Hansen Robotics, based in Hong Kong, said 4 models, including Sophia, will start rolling out of the factories in the first half of 2021. That is this year. Just as researchers predict, the pandemics will open new opportunities for the robotic industry. That's why they are paying you big packages, as stimulus and all that. They are paying you severance packages, but you don't know. Quote, the world of COVID-19 is going to need more and more automation to keep people safe, end of quote. Founder and Chief Executive David Hansen said, standing surrounded by robots' heads in his lab. Hansen believes robotic solutions to the pandemic are not limited to healthcare, but could assist customers in industries such as retail and airlines too. Quote, Sophia and Hansen robots are uniquely being so human-like, he added. That can be so useful during these times where people are terribly lonely and socially solid. Hansen said he aimed to sell thousands of robots in 2021 with large and small without providing a specific number. Social robotic professor Johan Hum, whose research has included work with Sophia, said that although the technology is still in relative infancy, the pandemic could accelerate a relationship between Hansen robots. I can infer the pandemic would actually help us get robots earlier in the market because people start to realize that there is no other way, said Hansen, said Hum of Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Hansen Robotics is launching a robot this year called Grace, developed for the healthcare sector. Production have from nothing to fear, but fear itself, Sophia said. Very pregnant, very ominous, and equally very timely. Let me read another report. COVID-19 vaccine will be administered to health workers, vulnerable citizens. First, Nigerian government says, Sahara Reporter, December 11, 2020. COVID-19 vaccine will be administered to health workers, vulnerable citizens first. Nigerian government says, Sahara Reporters, December 11, 2020. They say charity begins at home. Nigerian government says it has put in place the machinery for receiving 20 million doses of the newly approved COVID-19 vaccine, a vaccine developed by Pfizer/BioNTech is currently being administered to the United Kingdom. Speaking at the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 media briefing on Thursday, Pfizer Schwab, Executive Secretary, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, said the doses would first be given to health workers and vulnerable citizens. He said, we are on course To access safe vaccine in the first quarter of 2021, we will be leveraging on the polio platform to ensure effective delivery of vaccines to our vulnerable population. We have established a supra-ministerial advisory committee to ensure a seamless administration. A technical group meets every week and has devised a risk communication plan to deliver safe vaccine to Nigerians. That is the target everywhere you go in the world. What? Health workers. So by the time the health workers are eliminated, what? Robots like Sophia will take over. Very, very important, the world lesson. This thing that is happening in Nigeria is all over the place. That is the system in the world. Let's look at another report. It said Bill Gates, rich nations should move to 100% synthetic beef. 100% what? Synthetic beef. This is what they hear, February 16, 2021. This is by Cameron Jenkins. He said Bill Gates recently said that he believes rich nations would help the global fight against climate change by consuming only plant-based meat products instead of beef. In a recent interview with Technology Review, Gates discussed his new book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, and emphasized the benefits rich nations could produce by moving to 100% synthetic beef. Quoting him, "I do think all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef," Gates said when asked about how countries can help to maintain emissions when it comes to food production. Quote, "You can get used to the taste difference," and the claim is they are going to make it taste even better over time, and that is true. They will make it taste even better than the original one. The philanthropist and Microsoft co-founder told the outlet he is hopeful that a turn to plant-based products will help combat methane emissions produced by livestock. Quote, "Impossible and beyond have a roadmap, a quality roadmap and a cost roadmap that makes them totally competitive," Gates said, referring to popular plant-based meat companies. As for Sky today, they don't represent 1% of the meat in the world, but they are on their way, end of quote. Gates told Technology Review that he acknowledges the alternative argument that getting rid of cows is viewed as an unpopular approach. But he said that the benefit of plant protein are what a shift for some countries. Eventually, quote, "Eventually, that green premium is modest enough that you can sort of change the behavior of people. You can sort of what? Change the behavior of people or use regulation to tally shift the demand," Gates said. So for meat in the middle income and above countries, I do think it is possible. What is synthetic? Synthetic is what? Of a substance made by chemical synthetics, especially to imitate a natural product. What? A substance made by chemical synthetics, especially to do what? To imitate a natural product. I want to read another report before I come to do some summaries. It said Bill Gates admits COVID vaccine changes DNA. Doctors rebel. This is Principles Scientist through Combeer by John O'Sullivan, December 5, 2020. He said, disturbing video of Bill Gates as a match of him boasting about how his incredible COVID-19 vaccine, which has to go to 7 billion people and containing something new, an instruction in the code, will change our DNA. Beyond any doubt, the vaccine developed and launched to fight the novel coronavirus are composed of what? Recombinant DNA. Recombinants are molecules of DNA genetic code from two or more different species that are inserted into a host organism to produce new genetic combinations that are claimed to be of value to science, medicine, agriculture, and industry. Since the focus of what genetic is the gene, the fundamental goal of big farmers laboratory geneticists is to isolate, characterize, and manipulate genes. Mainstream media and prominent politicians have attempted to suppress and or deny that modified DNA with the potential to alter our own DNA is the new tool in these experimental rallies. But vaccine hesitancy, a polite term to denote refusal to be poisoned by those portions, is on the increase, especially among medical professionals who are touted to be among the first group to receive these Frankenstein injections. Vaccine hesitancy among healthcare workers. This is a MedPage.com report. Healthcare professionals want more data about a COVID-19 vaccine before they take it themselves. The Washington Post report. Washington Post report, surveys and statements from medical societies revealed a degree of vaccine hesitancy among doctors and nurses. For example, a report from the University of California, Los Angeles, released last week, showed 66% of Los Angeles of Los Angeles healthcare workers who responded to online questionnaires said they would delay taking a vaccine. The American Nurse Association said a third of its members do not intend to take the vaccine, and another third are undecided. All these things are wasting your time. At a point, they are going to make it compulsory. If you don't take it, you lose your job. That is exactly what they are going to do. Continuing with the report. He said two-thirds of doctors in New Jersey said they would take the vaccine, but some contacted by the state said they did not want to be in the first round, so they could wait and see if there are potential side effects. New Jersey Health Commissioner Judith Pasicilli said during a November 9 press briefing. A now retracted post from Johns Hopkins University, but preserved on the Wayback Machine, admits there is little to any need for such a mass vaccination of the global population because excess mortality rates are low to negligible, the university admitted. Surprisingly, the deaths of older people stayed the same before and after COVID-19, since COVID-19 mainly affects the elderly. Experts expected an increase in the percentage of deaths in elderly age groups. However, this increase is not seen from the CIS data. In fact, the percentage of deaths among all age groups remains relatively the same. Indeed, even the CDC now admits their alarmist COVID-19 claim deaths were up by huge amounts. In light of all the mistakes, shenanigans, rush through vaccines, misinformation, and propaganda, we should all take a long pause for reflection and heed the sage words of one of Britain's most respected published medical doctors, Dr. Benham Coleman. Dr. Coleman writes, let's see what the man wrote. So let's see what he says, Dr. Coleman. Let's see what he wrote. I'm quoting him. He said, I have recorded numerous videos about vaccines, written numerous articles and a book about vaccines written in 2011, and I don't have anything more to say about the damn thing. I shan't be having any COVID-19 or flu vaccination, but what everyone else does is, of course, a choice they must make for themselves. I realize that some people think the risk is worth taking and believe the official government line. that the known dangers of the disease outweighs the dangers of the vaccine, which I believe are largely yet unknown. The important thing, of course, I will tell you what is unknown in it. The important thing, of course, is that people, including children, now are allowed to make their own decisions, should be aware of all the risks, both of COVID-19 and of the vaccine, so that they can make a judgment. I am concerned that independent information is pretty thin on the ground now, that the censors are controlling every part of the media, including social media. I have more faith in the professional judgment and expressive and the, okay, that's the end. You said are controlling every part of the media, including social media. That is the end. Then the writer is saying, I have more faith in the professional judgment and the expressive and the expressions of Dr. Coleman and the tens of thousands of medical professionals who signed the Great Barrington Declaration than I have in social out media, celebrities and politicians, and the psychopathic urgencies like Bill Gates. So guess where I think B should shove it the same. About the nota, John O'Sullivan. John is CEO and about the writer, about the author. John O'Sullivan. John is CEO and co-founder with Dr. Timber of Principles Scientific International. John is a seasoned science writer and legal analyst who assisted Dr. Bell in defeating world-leading climate experts Michael Hawkstock man in the science trial of the century. Climate change and all that, we shall come to that. You have seen the views of highly, qualified academics, professionals, what their views are, especially the one from Britain. We are coming, I told you where I started, Genesis 2:18, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help make for him. It is not good that God should be alone. I told you that's where it started. Now, why did I go down to read about food and all those things before? Because I equally made some notes, to summarize all those things before we go deeper into, the climate change and all that. I had a plan to do what? To destroy 1/4 of the world population must simply die. And that is their target. Basically, I want human beings to understand that we are what we eat. The food we eat is what we are. The food we eat are exactly what we are. We have seen the modification of food or what? Coded to re-engineer you. Anything can happen, to their own intention. So what did I write? I wrote that because my problem is what? Giving you an eagle-eye view of the problem that confronts you, things that normal human beings cannot see, so that you know what involved in, look at the impatient haste, the stampede, when they went to go and bomb Iraq, they were making accusations of weapons of mass destruction. At the end, what happened? When 9/11 happened, it was Bin Laden. At the end, what happened? The CIA came up and said it was not Bin Laden, and that they have to pay compensation to the family. So what is the impatient haste? Tomorrow they will still tell you another story after the day has been done. So people of the world should be careful. What I'm telling you is by the stirring of the wind. If I go to tell you what I'm telling you, you cannot believe me. So I have to go and do what? Look in the atmosphere and look for news to substantiate exactly what I'm telling you. So it's up to you to choose and see exactly what I'm telling you. The impatient haste. Up to today, companies are giving all sorts of incentives for people to come and vaccinate and all that. Yeah, they claim they don't know the origin. That is it. And they don't even know the mode of transmission. When you don't know how a disease is spread, how can you control it? They put in face masks, I tell you this, when you are vaccinated, they can remove masks and that. Face masks have no relationship with COVID-19. I'm telling you. I will tell you how it is being spread. I'm going to tell you. What is the origin? When you can't discover the origin of a thing, how do you solve it? When you can't decode the intention before a thing, then how do you stampede yourself like fools and do what? And enter the slaughter without a second glance, without a second thought, without a second reflection. This is what I wrote. Bearing in mind that what we are basically what we eat. I said what? They are reprogramming you away from God's basic intention for you in creating you by reprogramming your basic anatomy to do what they want you to do and become what they want you to become. That is what they are going to see. In future, you will see the degeneration of human beings that beasts will have even better behaviors than human beings. Human beings will degenerate to a level that will astound the world because of what they have encoded into the vaccine that they are giving you. They want you to do and become what they want you to become through the same method of what cells and neurons do in the human body. A new creature very distant from what God intended for mankind. Neurons, cells, hormones and all that. What they did in the process of creation. I told you that science has broken into the code of everything is possible. But the problem they have is what? They don't have the time. They don't have the time. So they are reprogramming you. You see, once the doses are complete, you are altered forever. You may not know it. Once those doses are complete, you are basically altered. Different leaks don't know what they have encoded into it. That will manifest in different mannerism in future when it is already too late. Only 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 evil men want to do what? Want to control the whole population of this world in their hand. If they say jump, you jump. If they say go and eat shit, you go and eat shit. That is what they are aiming to do. This is my note. I wrote it when I was sober. Once the doses are complete, you are altered forever and may no longer have the natural desire for the opposite sex. So when you don't have desire for the opposite sex, what happens? How do you multiply? Do you see one of the ways they intend to checkmate the so-called population growth and all that? Then you do what? You'll be keyed into robotism and all that. And all these synthetics, one of the conditions is what? You will not have to make love with a natural woman. It has to be with a synthetic. That is what is key there. Remember, you see, once the doses are complete, you are altered forever and may no longer have the natural desire for the opposite sex. Some may become sterile. Some they may make you can't even have any baby again. And you will eat what hither to you wouldn't have eaten before. What you wouldn't have eaten before, you will eat it. Like we get talking about 100% shift to synthetic beef. You will eat it and you will not even tell the difference because he told you they are going to make it sweeter and better than the natural one. You see, eat what what you wouldn't have eaten before because humans are basically what we eat. And then behave in a very different manner. When you are taking out the whole doses, they do what? You become a different person. You may not know it. People may not notice it initially, but as time goes on, it becomes absolutely different from the beginning, from the saner manners of our earlier generation. Go and look at the earlier generation we have. Go and check their mannerism. Now check it with the type of what is going on today. Where even the young boys don't even wear their pants anymore. They don't wear what do you call it? They don't wear pants anymore. They wear their trousers are down, and you see the craziness that is going on in areas of fashion, and how our younger generations are behaving. Claiming it's what civilization. You see it? You see? Of our earlier generation compared to the behaviors of youth of today, with that of the past generation. The difference, is clear. And it's what is instigated basically by what we eat. What GMO food has engineered us to eat and act like. That is exactly what he said. Go and look at it even in America here, every other food, they have altered it. Plantain, even African food, before you can get the natural one, is very, very difficult. They altered basically everything that we eat. Even beans, a lot of other things, they altered it. And when you are eating it, you behave like what they encoded into it. There's genetically, modified food and all those things, What are they doing? They are reprogramming new informations and instructions to the what? To the original you to become a different you. I said, I am going to tell you how COVID-19 is being transmitted, is being spread. And I will tell you the origin. I will tell you everything about it. So if they doubt what I'm saying, let them come up when the pandemic started initially. Go and look at the coronavirus antidote that we published. That was what saved the world, But when the world went asleep, because while the man slept, the enemy came and planted tars for the man. So the world went asleep, and they did what? They came up and reprogrammed it. That's what is happening. So they are reprogramming new information and instructions to the original you to become a different you, totally submissive to their whims and caprices. They become the new God of humanity, which is what Dan Brown means by saying that no God will survive science. So people don't even know how powerful we are in this platform, when they talk about no God will survive science, the word acclaimed author Dan Brown, or whatever he calls himself, the author of original word. People don't know how powerful we are on this platform. You don't know I've retired him from writing? He can't write any of those stupid books he writes again. Go and mark it. Dan Brown cannot. It's just like 18th God's letter, which they are selling because of it appears to be insulting to God. They can't sell it again. Go and mark what I'm telling you. We retired a lot of powerful forces. Even all this multi-billionaire blue origin will soon be retired. Go and mark what I'm telling you. That's how powerful we are. So let me just tell you, that's how powerful we are in this platform. I'm one tennis, I'm the greatest scientist after our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm the greatest scientist alive, the phantom phenomenon of the 21st century. Then come right at Chinrezogo. Let us take up a challenge, a not intellectual challenge, and see what happens. So still continue with my summaries of what I told you they are doing to you. They are what? Once you eat what they want you to eat, you become what they want you to become and behave exactly the way they want you to become. Do you know that this so-called coronavirus that you see them wearing masks, I will give more in it. Do you know how it's being spread? They are poisoning people's food. They don't have anything to do with you had the report, the earlier report of they said even the Hopkins University said it should have been taking more of old people, but the death in all the whole categories of the age brackets are relatively the same, because it's not being transmitted the way you are looking at it. They are poisoning people's food. They are poisoning items. When you eat it, you start to have itching and all that. It's through poisoning by their own people. They know strategic places. That is what they are doing. I'll come and elaborate more. I don't want to waste my time on things that are planned in compartmentalities, so that I don't derive much, I don't go and waste more time without us getting anything. I go and ask them, how is it being transmitted? What's the relationship between masks and coronavirus? Let them tell us. Let them tell us what is the relationship. All these variants they tell you different variants. Different variants are different resistance, strength of different individuals. They create a variant and create a different medication. Like when people who are in Africa, or when you come to Africa, you can't expect a Fulani man to have the same immunity with an Igbo man or an Hausa man. What we eat are different. You understand what I mean? So that is how the variants come up. When you have strong opposition, they call it a variant and they bring up something that will penetrate that variant. That is what they are doing. That is how they are doing. That is exactly what they are doing. So once you eat what they want you to do, you become what they want you to become and behave exactly what they want you, how they want you to behave. In the process of time, you become a new creature programmed to be completely submissive and go in the manner of instruction that has been what? Encoded or reprogrammed in you, even giving birth or conceiving new offspring, according to their new intentions. The vaccines do not necessarily have to kill one physically immediately, except in Biafra land as they have intended. It is basically to control the future of mankind and hold it permanently in their palms and direct it wherever they will it. The future man may be programmed to develop a test for the what? For the artificial female rather than the organic woman, and vice versa, which is their final solution to reverse climate change occasioned by activities of humans on Earth will no longer be an issue, as artificial beings' activities does not pose a challenge to the climate as organic human activities does. Finally, they will remove the spirit of worship of the one and only true God from you, which is why the lies of Dan Brown will say that God cannot survive science. The difference between humans and animals is not in intellectual prowess per se, as people, believe, but that humans are the only species that has the spirit of worship, even if it is a worship of the wrong God. That ability to recognize that there is a higher force at play, in their existence is what separates them from beasts. And that is the criteria used by the people of old to do what? To differentiate between man and beast. Anywhere they see a sense and spirit of worship, they know that these people are human beings. So these are reflections of exactly what they intend to achieve through the vaccine. Any person, any authority can take me up on this particular thing. As I'm saying it, any authority, if they doubt it, let them come. That is why the impatient haste and all the whole incentives. Some people are even there. I've seen a company who was even offering $1,000, for people to come for trials and all that. In this America, all sorts of all manner of incentives are being offered. To do what? So that humanity, so that they can control the world. Look at it. Gates, Nigeria is my greatest commitment. This is this day of September 26. You say, the world's second richest man, Bill Gates, Thursday in New York, described Nigeria as the greatest commitment of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You cannot achieve. The Nigeria you're talking about is what the Biafrans. You are going to fail. I'm the one who have the template for the destruction of Nigeria. I'm the one. There's no other human being who can uproot Nigeria today. I'm the one who will destroy it. Nigeria is basically destroyed. Nigeria is not in the hands of Nigeria. The people that are holding Nigeria is what? America and Britain. Those are the people. And France. They are the people that are what? That are responsible for exactly what is happening in Nigeria. Nigeria have collapsed. They are the people that are holding it. They are holding a dead baby, looking for a way to put it down. I'm the man who have the template for the destruction of what? Of Nigeria and what? The restoration of Biafra Republic. To do what? To prove that Jesus is God. My candle is almost finished. That is why as this candle is burning, go and watch what was happening. Every time they come and they claim glory or what. If the Part 11 had not been published when it was published, by now they would have concluded their jihad and killed everybody. Should they say that Pope was importing bomb? was it Farouk or whatever is his name, who went and he was telling China 1 week time they are going to see what is going to happen. What happened? We checkmated them. I checkmated them. By what? By exposing the basic rock, of what they intended to do. Falana and the ICC and all that. Immediately I did that thing. They have to beat a retreat. To do what? They are still coming back to carry out the jihad. Nothing stops it. But that was what saved them. Then you see I pop on Namdekalo, that idiot. What he's doing, even Satan cannot do it. He come and claim glory. What I pop is doing, what I pop is doing. They don't do anything except to steal my ideas. Except to do what? Except to steal my ideas. And you see, I use my job to pay for my work. This is what I'm born to do. This I publish over 100 messages, program, very important ones, even before I made Chinedu and all that and all that. I've done a lot of, even on Chinedu's platform, more than 100 of very veritable and very critical, things that I have done to save humanity out of my own sweat. I mean, only between 2016, between 2017 and now, I've made more than 100 broadcasts on YouTube, very important ones. Since 1998, I started dating on 1997, 1996, or thereabout, when I met my Lord Jesus Christ, and I was on this journey. I financed myself. Nobody has given me a dime. I was a multi-millionaire by the time God called me. I used my money. How many but I was the one financing myself up to this level, and I'm trying to save humanity. My job is not even as constant as it used to be. All these things I do, it cost me tons of money to do it, preparation and all that, even up to the publications and all that. So as time goes on, even from this broadcast, people will start, not IPOB members, I don't need them, not Namdekal IPOB members. People will start to do what? They will start to pay me for my work. This is the work I'm born to do. They will start to pay me. At the end of this, and I will announce my account number where they pay tithe. And for the same reason that Abraham paid tithe to Melchizedek. That is the same reason, because after all this expose, I'm going to tell you exactly what is going to happen, because I have my own program too. The Biafran restoration that is soon, that is imminent, very, very soon, I have to provide a take-off grant for them. I have to provide, the take-off fund, for the Biafran government. I have to provide a grant for them, and that is going to cost billions of dollars. Personally, myself, I intend to build the three most best stadium in the whole world, the three best stadium in the whole world. I want to build them in Biafra land. I want to build one in Bakassi Peninsula, which I told you is going to be the administrative capital of Biafra. And I want to tell you, Bakassi Peninsula, which I told you, I do Janjaweed in Namdekalo. Does he know anything? Anything I do, they copy it. He saw him and went and built alliance with the Ambazonians and all that, using my formula. Well, what I'm going to tell the Ambazonians, don't ever do anything with Namdekalo. You're wasting your time. I'm going to give you the blueprint of how we're going to form a government in the diaspora. That is the only thing that holds Biafra today. Once we have that government in diaspora, countries will start to recognize us, coming from all different, ethnic nationalities that will make up Biafra. You don't expect people of Southern Kaduna to stand on their own. You don't expect the Hausas to stand on their own. I'm telling you that Biafra is going to be what is the Nigeria will divide among Christians and Muslims. That's the side it's going to be, excluding the Yorubas and the Edo State. Yoruba and the Edo State will not and will never be part of Biafra. Instead, Yoruba and the Edo State will be part of Biafra. If Biafrans are 1 million, 99.9 will die. Let even 1% remain. So they will go and form their government with the Fulanis. That is what is going to happen. The remaining 2 stadiums, I will build one in Enyimba City, Aba, and donate it to, Enyimba Football Club for their progress, and the remembrance of their founder. One in Enugu and give it to Rangers International. I want to build the most beautiful and the best music galleria, in Cross River State, where we honor all these musicians, black children, One World, The Wings, people like Michael Jackson, Prince, the Purple One, and a lot of them, will be honored, even Fela Nicola Pokuti, because that is the only Yoruba man that can be said to be detribalized Yoruba. No other person from Yoruba land. Then I want to set up, the biggest industrial park in Aba. The biggest industrial park in Aba. I want to create it there where boys will go and do what? All their talents and everything. And those industrial, both the tailoring people, best of machines for their finishing products will be supplied. That is what is going to happen. It is within me too to help in the world to build one of the best museums, Biafra Restoration War museums. We are going to build it. When we can say it's not Igbo, it will be cast in stone. It will be there forever and ever. Those are the things I aspire to do. And those stadiums I'm going to build, all those buildings I'm going to build, they are going to be a standard that Biafra will never go below. Those are the things I want to do. I'm not looking for any money. I'm not looking for any personal money for myself. Then I want to build the best advanced institute of investigative journalism in Biafra land in honor of the income writer. So these are some of the things I need to do. And the same reason why Abraham paid tithe to the prince of, to Melchizedek is the same reason why they will pay me tithe. I'm going to show you the origin of tithe and how it ended. Because the king, Melchizedek, saved Abraham, and I'm saving you from this particular thing. That's not how we tell you the origin of tithing. The Levites that we are collecting tithe was because they have no inheritance. You are going to pay tithe because I'm doing what I saved you, like Melchizedek saved Abraham. That is why it's going to come from all the whole Christians. So at the end of this, I'm going to announce the account number. You are going to pay it. Then I want to honor three important people. One, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Without Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, nobody will be talking about Biafra today. Biafra is an idea whose time has come. No matter what Zik does at its own time, he cannot be able to succeed because their time has not come. Biafra, at the time of Zik, was what was an embryo egg in the shell of the dragon called the British Empire. It was Nnamdi Azikiwe who forced them out to vomit that egg, Biafra, out by giving Nigeria independence. Britain never ever intended that Nigeria would be wholly an independent nation out of British control. They never intended it. It was Nnamdi Azikiwe who forced them to do that. Britain had wanted an arrangement that will integrate and incorporate British and Nigerian relationship till their kingdom come. They never dreamt of outright independence. Zik was the man who did it. So forget about that Janjaweed idiot that don't know anything, Nnamdi Kanu, coming here to insult our heroes and all that. Zik was like Telia, who started, Abraham father started that journey. That was how it is. When you see the Statue of Liberty, I want to do something that is better than the Statue of Liberty in honor of Nnamdi Azikiwe and what Odumegwu Ojukwu, the man who spent his father's money without even caring. Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, I respect him wherever he is. Heaven and earth will be kind to him. Then another person is what? Chinua Achebe, the custodian of ancient artifacts of the Igbos, the Secretary General. I want to honor them. So there are lots of things, we have to do. Lots and lots of things we have to do. With money. So these are some of the things, I hope in the nearest little time we are going to achieve all that. So let me go back to one report I want to read. It says, fresh mark may increase coronavirus risk. This is what WHO Director, Premium Times, March 31, 2020. The news report stated, states, the World Health Organization, WHO, has advised people not to wear face masks unless they are sick with COVID-19 or caring for sick patients. Masks may actually increase coronavirus risk. The Executive Director of the World Health Organization, World Health Organization Health Emergencies Program, Mike Ryan, said at a briefing in Geneva, Switzerland on Monday, according to the CNN. I'm quoting him. There is no specific evidence to suggest that the wearing of masks by the mass population has any potential benefit. In fact, there is some evidence to suggest the opposite in the misuse of wearing a mask properly or fitting it properly, Mr. Yan said, who earlier raised an outcry on global shortages of face masks and protective shoes for caregivers hampered by the coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Yan said the shortages of the item is putting the frontline caregivers at risk of the virus. Quoting him, right now, the people most at risk from this virus are frontline health workers who are exposed to the virus every second of every day. The thought of them not having masks is horrific, he said. So what am I saying? All this grandstanding about noise they are making about face mask or nothing, it have no relationship with coronavirus. It have no relationship. I'm telling you honestly, forget about it. Now what are they saying? They tell you that when you have finished the vaccination, you can now remove the face mask and all that. Is that not what they are saying? That is a covering, you know, it's a trick to lure people to take their vaccine. That is exactly what they are doing. Let me read an important news report for you, because we are going to deal with the anachronistic nature of this particular thing. We are going to go to the ancient of time, where it started. It said, mystery still shrouds COVID-19 origin. This is Guardian December 1, 2020. Now the news report. It said 1 million scientists are racing to find vaccines to tame the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Other researchers are probing the past, trying to unravel one of the greatest mysteries of the virus, exactly where it came from. The World Health Organization has assembled an international team of 10 scientists to trace the origin, and very important, to do what? To trace the origin of the virus. They will have to investigate both the suspected animals and how the first patient may have been infected, and how the first patient may have been infected. Quoting them, we want to know the origin, and we will do everything to know the origin. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told reporters on Monday. The success is by no means assured. Now, source of the spread, according to the report. He said the first case was reported in the Chinese city of Wuhan a year ago, before countries across the world began to record growing infections. The WHO said the first case in Wuhan are believed to date from the beginning of December. But, quoting, quote, where an epidemic is first detected does not necessarily reflect where it started, end of quote, it added in a November report. In recent months, researchers in various countries have suggested that cases may have gone unnoticed long before December 2019 based on analysis of wastewater or blood samples. But there is a lack of clear evidence to back up this claim, said Etienne Simon Laurent of the Virology Department of the Institute Pasteur in Paris to establish a viral family tree. Researchers rely on genetic analysis. This can help better understand transmission dynamics, particularly how the virus may have evolved over time and how clusters might have been related in time and place, and how clusters might be related in time and place, the WHO said. Now, leap to humans, very important. Scientists agree that the disease has an animal origin. That is wrong, and it's a big lie. Scientists agree that the disease has an animal origin. The big question is what led it to jump into humans. Etienne Simon Laurent told AFP, and that is what we're going to deal with. Suspicions have fallen on bats, which are a major reservoir for coronaviruses, he asked, but there would likely have been an intermediary animal to shepherd SARS-CoV-2 into people. Now, unraveling the riddles. Let me jump to conclusion on what they said about unraveling the riddle. He said, the WHO says understanding how the WHO, the WHO, that is World Health Organization, says understanding how an epidemic began is what essential to preventing further introductions to the human population. Now, the vaccines you have rushed to patent and you are giving it to people. Did you find out the origin? Did you find out the origin or the actual means of spread? Then what is the assurance? Where is the backup that you had that gave you the conscious assurance that the vaccine you are producing is the real antidote to it? That is it. That is one big question you have to answer. That the human population, but it has warned that the process of trailing how a disease jumps from animal is a riddle that can take years to solve. The introduction of a new virus to the human population is one of the greatest mysteries an epidemiologist can help to unravel, he said. The goal is to understand the mechanism and put in place measures to avoid the emergence of a new SARS, CoV-3, 4, and so on and so forth, said Simon Lorien. This is not a new SARS. This is exactly SARS itself, modification of SARS S. That is the origin of what? This coronavirus pandemic. Still continue with my work in 2002. Secondly, do not fall into the trap of the so-called Western researchers who have rushed to test existing drugs against the virus and to begin to develop new ones, thereby giving you hope that something is being done. Lies. They will tell you it took 15 years from the early years from the first recognition of AIDS for the introduction of the potent combinations of antiretroviral drugs that now extend the lives of many people with AIDS, and thereby make you believe it is too soon to say when an effective treatment for SARS will be developed. Don't ever buy that lie from her. You are dealing with a far deadlier killer than AIDS because of his spread and wholesome consumptions of group life out of no abnormal or indecent behavior on the part of his victim. It has to do with that in airtight places. If you look upon the Western powers before supportive Medicares will be discovered, objectives have been achieved. Attitude to eradication must be indigenous with a view of fishing out the infiltrators who are responsible for SARS. All the shouts about SARS in China, in Nigeria are all histrionic hyperboles, melodramatizing to cover and accommodate an already determined number of deaths to be obtained from these countries. An example of what the Nigerian politicians do when they are newly entering into an elected office and are given a form to declare their assets. Because they are going into loot, they declare assets not in actuality of the facts on the ground, but an over-bloated declaration to accommodate a futuristic loot to tally with booty at the end of their tenures in that office. They are creating all this panic in order to erode local and especially international confidence in China. Once that confidence is eroded, it will trigger a financial crisis in China that will lead to market collapse. Part of the objective, they are clandestinely and speedily realizing by sponsoring negative speculations on the Chinese economy from faraway London, New York, Bonn, and so on and so forth as a result of the SARS epidemic, which they hope will trigger a massive reduction in the Chinese stock holding by clients. They have since advised clients secretly to reduce their Chinese stock holding and encourage a situation that creates local panic and implosion that will be too much for the government to handle, precipitating an eventual eclipse of the Tiger Republic. This was exactly what China did. This was what China did when before the coronavirus, before they introduced it. When China repackaged it, they did what? They bought up all these Western assets. This is exactly what is happening. I'm the one who gave them the formula. Look at it. I am warning China for the last time to forget the SARS, not to forget that SARS is a creation of the Downist Court with links in the Vatican. They are the controllers of the United Nations Organization. They control the IMF, World Court, WHO, World Trade Organization, and so on and so forth, which was why, for instance, that WHO accused the Chinese government of underreporting SARS cases after WHO has publicized scientific information about SARS before it was sent to medical journalists. Of course, because they knew the origin and contents of SARS. China should immediately withdraw from the WTO, from the World Trade Center, and revert back to the status quo ante, because they are seeking for the destruction of the economic gains of China and its human resources. Any foreign company that misbehaves like Motorola should be thrown out immediately, because it is better for China to be in control and throw them out first than for them to be in control and throw China into internal turmoil that will finally nail China and open them up to privatization and thrift and trims design. Finally, quarantine yourself from the outside world temporarily and sort yourself out. I hope a good lesson for India to take note of. Have you seen it? This was what? 2003. This was the part of what I said about Clinton in the letter I wrote in 2000. Then in 2003, part of the letter in 2003, I wrote, the so-called Western civilized world has given up the battle. President Bush is now trying to fight for traditional social values. England has long abandoned the order they claim to uphold for God and joined back to the fold of the other Europeans they earlier abandoned for puritanical reasons, which was why their glory departed to America. On the whole, modern European sensibilities have merged with the forces of the Antichrist led by the prelate of Rome. President Bush today represents the last force on the puritanical principles on which the early fathers founded cities like New England. That is why they have ganged up against him and may yet restrain him from completing his tenure. Then his quote, quoting him, each of us were reminded that we are here for a time, and this counted day should be filled with things that last and matter. Love for our families, love for our neighbors, and for our country, gratitude for life and the giver of life. End of quote. Memorable words of a man after my heart. Today, the very soul of America is about to depart, thereby turning the country into an cupboard. Most of the past democratic presidents of America represent the forces of evil. They are back in power. The internet is only the foundation of so many things to come. I told you, democracy will end in America. It will be impossible for Republicans to win an election in America again, even in the next 20 years. They are gone, and they are gone forever. Mark what I'm telling you. They are gone. We are witnessing the end of democracy in America. They are back in power. They are taking over the government of every world. I told you about DACA and all what, the Fed Action for, childhood arrivals and all that. They have been connected them into their voting system. Go look at what is happening in immigration and all that. What is going to happen in America is exactly what happened in Nigeria. You see the throwaway hairstyle that Jonathan galvanized Nigerian economy. When Buhari came, Buhari have set Nigeria back 70 years back. Nigeria cannot recover from the destruction that Buhari have created. That is a template of what is going to happen in America. All the whole gains Trump made and all that. Within a twinkle of an eye, all of them will be reversed. Go and mark what I'm telling you. You are witnessing the end of democracy in America. I'm telling you what I'm saying. It's pregnant with explosive riots, that we give back to, I don't know, wild wind, because they have sown in the wind, and they will reap a wild wind. So, so many things to come. Now, in 2002, late 2002, look at what I wrote on SARS. I want you to check the time of this thing, it was published by some papers, Check the time. I said, why was SARS invented? If you do this was what I used to save China from SARS then. Now China is the head. They are what the first Antichrist you are going to see is what is Xi Jinping. After him, another one is coming. So what they are doing now, they would have succeeded, but now it's not the time for it. That is why it have to be the red. These are things that will do what? That will happen when the main Antichrist will come. The one that will come after Xi Jinping. That is when it will happen. When the Bible will tell you no man can buy or sell unless the person who have the mark of the beast is coming. So why was SARS invented? This is what I wrote. If you do a comparative study of the casualties recorded by HIV/AIDS, you will discover that AIDS was not able to penetrate their other targets of China, Mexico, and India, because they were well aware of the antiques and origin of AIDS, and took excessive precautionary measures and in-depth scrutiny to nip the AIDS bug in the bud, to the consternation of the Western world. The invention, I want you to note, the invention of SARS at the Darwin Research Center is to achieve on a greater scale and speed what AIDS failed to achieve for them in China and India. The world, especially China, had better listened to me and save its citizens from untimely death. Japan is out of sight SARS zone because of its landmass, spacious living, use space to break the impasse of the ravaging scourge until you will soon find a cure. This is what 2002 to 2003. Go and look at it. It's not today. It is not affecting children in China mainly because babies are not normally taken to dehydrated, crowded environment, which I hope will be a very important lead to aid you to a breakthrough vaccine soon. Use space and avoid overcrowding to checkmate it. It is targeted only on high density or high populated environment with limited space. That is where it can mutate faster, the super city, so to say. To continue with my work in 2002. Secondly, do not fall into the trap of the so-called Western researchers who have rushed to test existing drugs against the virus and to begin to develop new ones, thereby giving you hope that something is being done. Lies. They will tell you it took 15 years from the early years from the first recognition of AIDS for the introduction of the potent combinations of antiretroviral drugs that now extend the lives of many people with AIDS, and thereby make you believe it is too soon to say when an effective treatment for SARS will be developed. Don't ever buy that lie from her. You are dealing with a far deadlier killer than AIDS because of his spread and wholesome consumptions of group life out of no abnormal or indecent behavior on the part of his victim. It has to do with that in airtight places. If you look upon the Western powers before supportive Medicares will be discovered, objectives have been achieved. Attitude to eradication must be indigenous with a view of fishing out the infiltrators who are responsible for SARS. All the shouts about SARS in China, in Nigeria are all histrionic hyperboles, melodramatizing to cover and accommodate an already determined number of deaths to be obtained from these countries. An example of what the Nigerian politicians do when they are newly entering into an elected office and are given a form to declare their assets. Because they are going in to loot, they declare assets not in actuality of the facts on the ground, but an over-bloated declaration to accommodate a futuristic loot to tally with booty at the end of their tenures in that office. They are creating all these panics in order to erode local and especially international confidence in China. Once that confidence is eroded, it will trigger a financial crisis in China that will lead to market collapse. Part of the objective, they are clandestinely and speedily realizing by sponsoring negative speculations on the Chinese economy from faraway London, New York, Bonn, and so on and so forth as a result of the SARS epidemic, which they hope will trigger a massive reduction in the Chinese stock holding by clients. They have since advised clients strictly to reduce their Chinese stock holding and encourage a situation that creates local panic and implosion that will be too much for the government to handle, precipitating an eventual eclipse of the Tiger Republic. This was exactly what China did. This was what China did when before the coronavirus, before they introduced it, when China repackaged it. They did what? They bought up all these Western assets. This is exactly what is happening. I'm the one who gave them the formula. Look at it. I am warning China for the last time to forget the SARS, not to forget that SARS is a creation of the Downey Court with links in the Vatican. They are the controllers of the United Nations Organization. They control the IMF, World Court, WHO, World Trade Organization, and so on and so forth, which was why, for instance, that WHO accused the Chinese government of underreporting SARS cases after WHO had publicized scientific information about SARS before it was sent to medical journalists, of course, because they knew the origin and contents of SARS. China should immediately withdraw from the WTO, from the World Trade Center, and revert back to the status quo ante. because they are seeking for the destruction of the economic gains of China and its human resources. Any foreign company that misbehave like Motorola should be thrown out immediately, because it is better for China to be in control and throw them out first than for them to be in control and throw China into internal turmoil that will finally nail China and open them up to privatization and thrift and trims design. Finally, quarantine yourself from the outside world temporarily and sort yourself out. I hope a good lesson for India to take note of. Have you seen it? This was what? 2003. This was the blueprint that Chinese I'm reading. I was serialized by some Nigerian newspapers, you know, out of them, you know, newspapers and magazines in the country. The Week magazine of March 31, 2003, and the subsequent edition of the magazine carried in two parts the complete statement of the write-up titled National ID Card, The Danger Waiting. This is another one, National ID Card, The Danger Waiting. I'm coming to show you the origin of what we're talking about. In that piece, I argued thus. They knew that the clergyman T.R. Matos was right and has imbibed the Malthusian doctrine, which states, and I quote, that the population should be restricted so as to prevent an increase beyond its means of sustenance. This has led them to the conclusion that the environment, population, and sustainable development call for urgent radical action. Transition to sustainability of the world lies in disemphasizing global population to allow time to correct so many things, as they have discovered that income growth is not the solution. And this decade is the decade for action. Action means 1/4 of the world population has to be simply destroyed. That is it. This is the origin. This is the intention of what? Of this COVID-19 and SARS. T.R. Matos, Robert Thomas Matos, English cleric, scholar, and influential economist, you know, political economy, and what? And demography. That is the man. So this is what? This is the intention, the membrane boss behind what they are doing today. Let me repeat it. This was what I wrote it in 2003. Go and look for it. The Week magazine of March 31, 2003, and a lot of other papers. National ID Card, The Danger Waiting. In that piece, I argued thus. They knew that the clergyman T.R. Matos was right and has imbibed the Malthusian doctrine, which states that the population should be restricted so as to prevent an increase beyond its means of sustenance. This has led them to the conclusion that the environment, population, and sustainable development call for urgent radical action. Transition to sustainability of the world lies in disemphasizing global population to allow them to correct so many things, as they have discovered that income growth is not the solution, and this decade is the decade for action. Action means 1/4 of the world population has to simply be destroyed. They are much more firmly and determined to get a high proportion of this 1/4 from especially sub-Saharan Africa and what? The Hispanics, the Chinese, you know, Indians and all that. That is exactly what happens here. So following the doctrine of the clergyman, you know, T.R. Matos, they simply want to do what? To destroy 1/4 of the world population. As of the year 2019, I think the world population was 7.674 billion, nearly 8 billion. So they are seeking, with this coronavirus, they are seeking to destroy nearly 2 billion people of the earth. That is what they intend to do, to destroy nearly 2 billion people. And I told you this number they want to destroy. They want to get most of them, you know, from especially sub-Saharan Africa and the Asians. That is exactly what they want to do. So look at it. That's exactly what they want to do. Still going on with the write-up. I said, this is the reason for their creation of the HIV virus and their unwillingness to encourage indigenous AIDS vaccines to be discovered and patented or amplify credible indigenous improvisation that may lead to an eventual curtailment or eradication of the AIDS scourge. That is, you know, Madagascar and other places discovered the COVID-19 antidotes and all that. What happened? The same thing they did with AIDS and all that. That is exactly what they are doing with the so-called coronavirus. That's exactly what they are doing. So still continuing. That write-up was a shocker to the kingdom of darkness and led to so many things, which I will expose now. In that article, I equally wrote, emphasis for the curtailment of the spread of the AIDS scourge by them to us in Africa is based not on abstinence from sex for minors, but on an encouragement of the vulgarity of what with condom idea can't be. That was what Obasanjo was saying, which is a trap to lure people to be infected with the virus. How, you may ask? Haven't you wondered why the condom they make for Africans, for African use, especially Nigeria, is so thick? Pick a sample of condom from London or EU countries and do a comparative study with what you have here, and you will begin to understand what I'm talking about. Most of the condoms in use in Nigeria, including the ones supplied by most of the so-called overseas humanitarian organizations and lungos, are dead merchants, as most are punctured and has holes that cannot be seen with the naked eyes and account for the increase and spread of the scourge, in spite of the people's supposed precautionary measures. All these AIDS foundations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Kofi Annan-led AIDS Foundation and numerous others actually are front for the Supreme Antichrist and are headed by the people who actually invented the virus in the first place. I discovered from my researches that biotechnologists invented the virus through researches on protein-based molecular therapeutics. I want you to do a comparative study of the following locations and casualties recorded by HIV/AIDS in the year 2001. Now, listen to it. Western Europe recorded an estimated 6,800 deaths from HIV/AIDS in the year 2001. Eastern Europe and Central Asia recorded 23,000. North America, 20,000. Australia and New Zealand, 120. Caribbean, 30,000. Latin America, 80,000. East Asia and Pacific, 35,000. Southeast Asia, 400,000. North Africa and Middle East, 30,000. Now note, Sub-Saharan Africa, 2,300,000. 2,300,000. Are you now beginning to see what I mean? The devil's modus operandi has gone so supersonic that is beyond the comprehension of ordinary carnal earthmen. I signed a note of warning to the world that the greatest weapon of the devil and his agents is deception, which they have continuously employed to deceive the world in their evil schemes. This same thing they did. Have you seen the target in Africa? So it's not today that all these bigots and all these blood suckers, it's not today. They have been sucking the blood of Africans. You see what happened there? That is the same thing they are seeking to do with this so-called coronavirus. Let me read one report for you on this coronavirus. You say what? COVID-19 vaccine. Biden, that is the present American president, Biden, Macron, seek 1.8 billion doses for Africa. Others. Look at it. This is what by Alexander, this was news of 2nd May 2021. Have you seen it? How many million doses? 1.8 billion doses for Africa. That is what they intend to do. You say what? International Advocacy Organization Global Citizen has announced new additions to the lineup for Vast Live, the contents to reunite the world, a broadcast and streaming special. Go down to the news report. The important thing is what? They are seeking for what? 1.8 billion doses for Africa. That is where they want to get most of the people that they intend to kill in this particular, coronavirus issue. Have you seen it? Now look at it. Still continuing with the article that was published in the papers, in 2002 or 2003. Still continuing. I said, secondly, I wrote in that article, I discovered from my researches that biotechnologists invented the virus through researches on protein-based molecular therapeutics. Those are biotechnologists and scientists based at the Darwin Molecular Center in the United States of America, which was and still is the Genetic Research Center and Foundation for Evil, where the HIV virus, severe acute respiratory system, SARS, avian influenza, that is H7N7, Hawking diseases, renal infections, lymphoma, cancer, and the host of other life-destroying insurgents of infection diseases and viruses, most of which were supposed to have originated from lower animals, but have now jumped the species of barrier for the first time to infect human beings, were invented and deployed to already set targets. Scientists have identified up to 20 new cases of infectious diseases today, which was all their creations. The Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. Since life began on earth, plants and animals have been behaving in the order to which their God created them. They have never been in rebellion of God's order except where tampered and influenced by man. Man is the species that have constantly been in rebellion with the design of God. Since life began on earth, strains of virus have never been known to jump the species barrier from lower animals to infect human beings. It was humans that induced and invited those monkeys or chimpanzees, horses, and so on and so forth to make love to their women. In natural setting, have you ever seen a dog making love to a goat before? Have you seen a bird making love to a fowl before? They go after their kind. Only humanity strained into the animal degenerated state and even became more deranged, perverted, and degenerated than what is called the lower species. There are new diseases not because the strain jumped the species barrier, but because they are man's invention and there is nothing new under the sun. This information about the source of all these resurgence of infection diseases is exceedingly important as it represents a major step towards curbing and eventual eradication of the disease. The new race SARS that is ravaging China and the host of other countries today are all creations of the Antichrist cult led by the Supreme Antichrist, with their headquarters in uptown Manhattan, New York, in the United States of America. I told you Bill Clinton is not the Supreme Antichrist. He is the dragon, dragging the whole humanity onto destruction. The first Antichrist is the Jinping, Chinese president you are seeing and now, the beast out of the sea. He is not the main Antichrist. The main Supreme Antichrist will come after him. That is all the evil biotechnologists and scientists do at the Darwin Foundation. Invention of deadly diseases to reduce the human population for reasons stated in my earlier piece on ID card, with the final objective of realizing their dream one world government. Ask yourself, who are the Darwinists that bankroll the activities of the foundation? Who are the investors in biotechnology? Their names are too numerous to mention in this piece. With corroborative evidence, the name of a few of them we do. They are Bill Clinton, the author of the New Covenant, the Rockefellers, David Rockefeller of the great Rockefeller family of America, a strong proponent of one world government with the blue-blooded global allies such as himself at the head, made a speech that was secretly recorded by a reporter. Rockefeller stated that all the new world order needed was a global crisis that will unite all the people of the world together. Today, that global crisis has happened. It's COVID-19. You see it? United States government is one of the biggest sponsors, especially when under the leadership of Democratic Party presidents of the past, all of whom were members of the all of who are members. The Bill Gates once told an international magazine that in terms of allocation of time resources, religion is not very efficient. There is a lot more I could do on a Sunday morning. Are you beginning to see what I mean? I am leading you to the thread to Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in order to let you understand the reason for the researches that led to strains of lower animals jumping the species barrier to infect humans, all in their queer and mangled deranged sadistic assertion that there is no God. New Covenant means New Age doctrine, which is nothing but pure occultism. In May 2001, at the evil capital New York, where their king lives, UNESCO sponsored a closed-door conference in which they invited a dozen top scientists and top theologians to discuss about science and religion. The theme of the discussion is the key question: Does God exist? In the letter I wrote to the then American president in the year 2000, that is Bill Clinton, when he came to Nigeria, he delivered a speech, and people were applauding him. I wrote in that piece, in that letter to him, on page 23, I wrote, the Antichrist will be a great sophist. Clinton is not the Antichrist, it's only the dragon. Of course, you are a wonder with words. He will be a great charmer, a man who makes his appearance with irresistible charm. Which one leader today is charmer than you, irresistible Bill Clinton, that can charm a snake to sleep and charm a Lewinsky to bed? Only they don't know you are the beast out of the sea of Revelation 13:1. It is equally for this reason that the people who were held down by your sophistry and charms as they listen to your address obviously cannot make out the real import of your statement in some areas like, sick, I'm quoting him exactly what he said. That was in 2000, and look at what is happening today. Quoting Bill Clinton direct, he said, it is not for me to tell you how to resolve all the issues that I follow more closely than you might imagine. I do. You are a free people and independent people, and you must resolve them. All I can tell you is what I have seen and experienced this last year as president in the United States and in working with other good people with similar aspirations on every continent of the globe. We have to find honorable ways to reconcile our differences on common ground. The overwhelming fact of modern life everywhere, believe it or not, is not the growth of the global economy, not the explosion of information technology and the internet, but the growing interdependence these changes are bringing. Whether we like it or not, more and more our fates are tied together within nations and beyond national borders, even beyond continental borders and across great oceans. Whether we like it or not, it is happening. You can think of big examples like our economic interconnections. You can think of anecdotal examples like the fact that I want people to listen and just take note of what he said then. Like the fact that we now have a phenomenon in the world known as airport malaria, where people get malaria in airports in nations where there has never been a single case of malaria because they just pass other people who have it from around the world in the airport. Have you seen it? That's how they formulated the COVID-19 or whatever you're talking about. Whether we like it or not, your destiny is tied to mine and mine to yours, and the future will only make it more so. You can see it in all the positive things we can build together and in the common threats we face from enemies of national states, from the narco traffickers, the gun runners, from the terrorists, from those who will develop weapons of mass destruction yet to the electronic age, very difficult to detect and easy to move. Now we have to decide what we are going to do with the fundamental fact of modern life, our interdependence. Is it possible for the Muslims and the Christians here to recognize that and find common ground? Can we find peace in Jerusalem between the Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews? Can we find peace in the Balkans between the Muslims, the Orthodox Christians, and the Catholics? Will we ever bring an end to the conflict between the Catholics and the Protestants in Northern Ireland? I may finally ever really have it over with completely. Can the Hindus and the Muslims learn to live together in Kashmir? Isn't it interesting when I came here in part to help you move into the information revolution more quickly, to spread this benefit to more of your people, that all over the world in this most modern of ages we are bedeviled by humanity's oldest problem, the fear of the other people who are different from us. End of quote of what he said. Now cross-check it, what he said about airport malaria to what is happening today. I told you that they are determined to get a high proportion, of the nearly 2 billion people they want to kill from Africa. I told you have seen the current American president. You see the billions of doses they order for Africa. So look at it. Uganda orders 9 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine amid new infection. This is Vanguard of December 10, 2020. I'm giving you collaborations to all what I'm saying. United Kingdom offers to vaccinate 20% of Zimbabwe's population against COVID-19. You have seen it. They have now told you a new variant have come to South Africa and Africa because of what I told you. In the next 25 to 30 years, they want to make South Africa a complete white nation. The same thing they want to do to Biafrans and remove them completely from the surface of the earth. So they have created a new sophisticated variant that they want to use to wipe all the people out. Sub-Saharan Africa. Go and look at it. It's in the new report. It said Africa needs 9 billion to distribute 1.4 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccine. Who said, which they have offered to pay off. It said, you warn of terrible health consequences should Africa miss out on COVID-19 vaccines. You see it? Everything Africa. Gates wants to team up more with Bezos to combat climate crisis. Look at them. They are the evil people that are behind this thing. It's a Microsoft co-founder says climate change could dwarf pandemics and fatalities and global impact. Bill Gates is aiming to work more closely with Amazon chief executive, officer Jeff Bezos, to combat a climate crisis that the Microsoft co-founder said could dwarf the current pandemic in fatalities and global impact. The deaths will just go up over time as we get more heat waves, forest fires, and most importantly, lose the ability to go outdoors and do farming anywhere near the equator. Gates said in an interview with Bloomberg Television, Emily Chan, his book, How to Avoid Climate Disaster, went on sale earlier this month. Look at them. Look at them. Amazon and all that. They are the evil forces, the greatest reprobates that have done what? Accumulated the world wealth. And they want to do what? They want to control the world population. That is what they want to do. They engineer human beings and do what? And take control, they direct people from what God intended for man. And now look at what again they want to do. I want you to listen to this news report, which is very, very important, It's a project supported by Bill Gates is said to temporarily dim the sun. A large balloon will be launched in Sweden and spew particles of calcium carbonate to dim the sunlight. This is by entrepreneur and exponent. This is March 24, 2021. Look at the news report. It said this article was translated from our Spanish edition using AI techniques. Errors may exist due to this process. It said, remember the project where Bill Gates wanted to cover the sun to cool the earth? Well, this summer, the test will begin. According to the Times, a large balloon will soon be launched in Sweden that will spew out particles of calcium carbonate, which is essentially chalk dust. The controlled stratospheric perturbation experiment, that is COPES, wants to prove that the release of this dust into the stratosphere and eventually divert some of the sun's energy and lower the temperature of our planet. Historical fact, the balloon will be launched near the Arctic city of Kiruna, and it will be the first serious attempt to test whether global warming can be kept under control by dimming the sunlight. The research is carried out by scientists at Howard University and financed by private donors, including the founder of Microsoft, and has the purpose of achieving that the light of the sun is reflected outside the atmosphere of our planet. Scopes is a scientific experiment to advance the understanding of stratospheric aerosol that could be relevant for solar geoengineering. The project page reads, scientific opponents to this project believe that solar geoengineering could bring imperative risk and extreme changes in weather patterns that would be no different than current warning trends. On the other hand, environmentalists fear that a dramatic change in mitigation strategy will become a green light for greenhouse gases to continue to be emitted without any variation in current consumption patterns. According to the Times, some critics of the project argue that working on this type of solar geoengineering could backfire by giving politicians an excuse to delay reducing greenhouses and gas emission. Have you seen it? God created you and gave you, free air. They're giving you a mass air. I told you they want to reprogram the project of God and corner it onto themselves. That is what they want to do. And control humanity. Just very few people. Look at it. So they are already preparing you for the masks, for wearing of masks already. So what is the problem? I told you that the problem started with God's intention to do what? To get companionship unto himself. That is actually what happened. And the present circumstances that we are facing in the quest for Biafran restoration, people don't understand it. It is spiritual. That is what they don't understand. The mundane man as of today, we are covered with our surface is look for mundane things, It's too materialistic, to attract God's favor and all that. We are too materialistic. So my duty is to use this Namdekala Abracadabra, like as I told you, to do what? To draw out, to lower your surface being, and do what? Draw your inner being out, your inner man, and take it to a higher man. That will do what? Gradually be translated into the image of God. So Biafra is all about Jesus Christ. That is exactly what happens, but people don't understand. So we can't talk about Biafra without talking about our Lord Jesus Christ. That is exactly what is there. So the present man, especially the Biafrans, must have to do what? The materialistic instincts, of the surface man. I want to remove it and draw the inner man to seek spiritual things of God, so that you will gradually be transformed in the image of God. That is what happened. And for that purpose, let me tell you how Biafra and Nigeria is connected and all that. They talk of about Magidon War. The most important war is what? Is this particular war. It started from heaven. I will come to that. How does it connect? What happened on Good Friday? Good Friday commemoration, the day Jesus was crucified in the gospel. Jesus was arrested by royal guys in Jerusalem at the Garden of Gethsemane after he was betrayed by Judas. Jesus struggled on the cross for 6 hours, and according to the Bible, when he eventually gave up his spirit, darkness fell across the land. Jesus was crucified exactly on Friday. I'm giving you the date for those who say Jesus does not exist. Jesus was, the last year of May was exactly the anniversary of Jesus' crucifixion in the year that he was crucified. Jesus existed nearly 2,000 years ago. I don't know the actual year, but I'm giving you the exact date and day that Jesus was crucified. Jesus was crucified exactly on Friday, 29th May, which is exactitude on 29th May of 2020, which coincided with what? On the eve of 30th May, the day Biafran War was declared. Jesus rose on the 3rd day after crucifixion, symbolizing the 3 years war between Nigeria and Biafra. Last year was the resurrection of Jesus as in Biafra. So we are going home this year. Do you know why we are going home this year? Go and look at it. That is exactly what happened. It coincided with that massacre, that genocide. That was the death and resurrection of Jesus in the year that Jesus, our Lord, was crucified. May 30th, 2020 marked the 53rd anniversary of the declaration of the ancient Republic of Biafra, which led to a 3-year war of 1967 to 1970. The year marked 50th year of the end of the Biafran War. What does it translate? We are in the year of Jubilee. We are in this atmosphere of Jubilee. This is the climate for the Jubilee, the greatest Jubilee that the Lord promised. Nigerian Civil War from July, 6 July 1967 to 15 January 1970. That is what happened. So what actually happened this year is not for our Lord Jesus Christ. This year is for what? This year is for the man-child. People mistook the man-child as our Lord Jesus Christ. The man-child is not our Lord Jesus Christ. The man-child is what? The man-child is the man whom our Lord Jesus Christ has delegated the duty of what? The duty of restoration of the ancient Republic of Biafra. Which tells us what? Which tells us to the book of Revelation. We are going to dwell in this particular thing. I'm going to give you the exact interpretation. We are going to decode it, because this is the last sign that will happen before the arrival of our Lord Jesus Christ. The main major last sign, you know, the sun-clothed woman with the moon under her feet. And it is happening in this particular period. Let me briefly read the Revelation chapter 12, because it's going to, those who say the Bible is a lie, this is where I took my mission from. And I'm going to use this place to prove. We are going to decode it, pieces it completely in the next chapter. It says what? Chapter 12. It says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, traveling in birth, and pain to be delivered. The great red dragon, that is Nnamdi Kanu and his followers. I think a Yoruba pastor saw a vision of him. He said a puppy with white beasts. That vision is accurate. The puppy is, God cannot call his servant a puppy. A puppy is very, very negative and ugly and dirty. So the vision is correct, symbolizing his call by Satan as what? Puppy, followed by white beast. White beast is what? Dangerous, negative beast of satanic beast. Trying to do what? Look at it, the red dragon. Trying to eat up the man-child. That is what exactly is happening. Now the red dragon, the great red dragon. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, the great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was brought up unto God and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. In Jamaica. And there was war in heaven. There was what? War in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimonies, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, you heaven, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnants of her seed, which keep the commandment of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. That God was seeking companionship for himself. That was the reason for the creation of this world. What we are witnessing today is the reason why this world was created, why everything came to be. And this place I read for you is one of the most important places in the whole of the Bible. This particular place I read for you is one of the most important places. This is what we are witnessing, this war that continued here. That is the 4th World War that Advert spoke of. The World War number 4 will be fought before 3rd World War. 3rd World War is the Armageddon War. This is the war that is most important to God that created this particular world. So what we are facing in the reality of this Biafran conundrum is what we are facing is a war that started from heaven and came down to this particular earth. All these negative forces, they understand spiritual and historical things, but our people don't understand it. So that is why they are being derailed, and they still believe in 2023 election and all that. But the enemies know this war is inescapable. There's nothing in this war that will prevent Nigeria from fighting a war. Nothing. Even if they don't fight a war, they fight it for 2 days, because it's a war that continued from heaven. And all these things that the negative forces are doing, they cannot succeed. That is why I have rapture. Rapture is what taking the people of God, the people that will make up the companionship that he sought. He will take them out. So no matter what the evil scientists do, they cannot succeed. God have a plan B of taking his people out. That is the point. The Armageddon war itself is not even a serious war, because it is the evil forces that are destroying the evil forces. When they say God will renew the earth, the renewal of the earth is as a result of when these evil forces have destroyed themselves. After the elect of God have done what? After the elect of God has gone out. That is exactly what you are witnessing. So those who say they don't believe in God, you don't have to play with the realities of the things that are happening. That is exactly what is happening. So what is what? In Nigeria, the negative forces know that there is no peaceful way of what? Dissolving a heterogeneous entity like Nigeria. It must be by war. And they are prepared, but our people are there sleeping. I am the man child. Look at it. I'm going to decode this particular thing in what? In the next chapter. What we are going. This is a mathematical equation. This is the Bible mathematics. I'm the man child. Look at me here. Man child is a man until he's a child, because of what? His fearful disposition at a battle out of the Lord to do war with the evil forces of this earth, without caring, without fearing, fearlessly. That is why it's called what? The man child. I'm the man child, and this is a witness today for the gospel that we are hearing. We are going to solve this mathematical equation. So since this war began, what we are witnessing in this May, this particular May now we are in, is what? It's not the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. That is why I have 2 big stars. This big star is for the Lord Jesus Christ. The small one is for the man child. This month is the birth of the man child. This month, this May, is the birth of the man child. To be what? Heralded by the bloody supermoon. That is what is coming. Let me read one article for you. It says, we are about to witness an ultra-rare super flower blood moon. Super flower blood moon. 3 combined in words. It says, we are about to witness the first ever lunar occurrence of 2021, the super flower blood moon. A total lunar eclipse will occur during a super full moon in the early hours of May 26, 2021. A component of a blood moon, the component of a blood moon are not overtly rare in themselves, but the combination of the blood moon, super moon, and flower moon on the same night is what will make May 26 an exceedingly special night. A supermoon is the point of the moon's orbit when it is at its closest to Earth. The perigee closest to Earth, the perigee, when it appears up to 14% larger and about 30% brighter than normal. A calendar year can see up to 4 supermoons. A flower moon happens during springtime when the flowers are hitting their peak bloom according to the farmer's almanac. A blood moon is another name for a lunar eclipse, which happens when the moon passes through the earth's shadow, making it appear slightly reddish in color. This is the birth of the man child, the sun-clothed woman. The sun-clothed woman of Revelation 12, with the moon under her feet. It is a what? It is what? The greatest mathematical equation in the Bible. And we are going to do what? We are going to decode it. That is why I said in this one, this is heralding the birth of the what? Man-child. And that is why I told you that the king of Salem, Melchizedek, in Abraham, paid tithe to him, the priest of Leon. And for that reason, time is almost finished on this. I'm going to elaborate it on that particular thing. I'm the man-child. You understand me? That is why I told you this is the work I'm born to do. I've been financing this with my job, but I have told you earlier that there are lots of things I have to do with money. And it have to come what? It have to come from the people of God. All over the world, it's a global thing. You know, Spirit of God will touch the people that we touch. And they will do what? And they will do what? Donate to my account. They will do what? Donate to my account. It's like they are paying their tithe. We are going to discuss about tithing in the next chapter. For those who are interested, the account number is 4460-4019-9755. I repeat, 4460-4019-9755. And the routing number is 052-001-633. I repeat, 052-001-633. And the what? The Swiss code is buffer US3N. Buffer is like B in box, O like an owl, F like in flower, A like in answer, U like in United, S like in state, 3 like in the letter in the figure 3, you know, the letter 3, and N like in no. That is it. So why is it? Jesus said at the end of the time that he will use the foolish things of this world to do what? To compound the wise. And that foolish thing that Jesus had decided to do what? To use to compound the wise. That is exactly what happened. Which tells us to, let us go to the book of John. John chapter, let me read John chapter 5 for you, to illustrate exactly what I'm saying. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In this lay a great multitude of impotent folks, of blind heart, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water, whosoever went first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whoever disease he had. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. 38 years. So it is no doubt that this man was sick. 38 years is popular and everybody knows him. And when Jesus saw him lie and knew what he had, that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, and when Jesus saw him, they did not bring him to Jesus' church. Jesus did what? Jesus saw him. It's not like all these criminal pastors. Their miracle is only what? Their miracle is only in their church. But our Lord Jesus Christ is what? Anywhere he goes, he was doing good. Doing good, mighty healer. He delivered. When the cripples saw him, they started jumping. Anywhere he goes, my Lord was doing good. Anywhere he goes, he was doing good. But these ones are only in their church. When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, will I be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another step down before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up the bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. On the same day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, It is a Sabbath day, it is not lawful for you to carry thy bed. He answered them, He that made me whole. The same said unto me, Take up thy bed, and walk. Then asked they him, What man is that which said unto thee, Take up thy bed, and walk? And he that was healed, which not it was for Jesus, had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Meaning what? Jesus had already left the place. Afterwards Jesus findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing came unto thee. The man departed and told the Jews that it was Jesus which had made him whole. And therefore the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay him because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. But Jesus answered them, my Father, this is where I want that is making me to read what I'm reading. My Father worketh hitherto, and I walk. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. For what thing soever he doeth, this also doth the Son likewise. My Father in heaven, I thank you. I thank you. May I not be the man that will betray you, my Lord and my Lord Jesus Christ. I thank you that I have been able to hold on to forth till today. What I am doing is what I did, what I saw my Lord, my Father, the Lord Jesus Christ do. That is what I'm doing. I am doing the work my Father, I saw my Father do. I am doing the work that I saw my Father do. My Father is what? The Lord Jesus Christ. Darling Jesus, my darling Jesus, oh my darling Jesus, you are my wonderful Lord. I love you so, my darling Jesus, oh my darling Jesus, you are my wonderful God. To be like you, oh, to be like you, blessed Redeemer, just as thou art. Come in thy glory, come in thy fullness, engrave your image deep in my heart. I'm doing the work that I see my Father do. God did not come down to do the work of Jesus. Jesus did it. I am doing the work that I saw my Father do. So let me give you a more recent update on what they are doing with, all this all these humanoids, robots that they are manufacturing. Don't call her a chatbot. The story of Amelia, hospitality technology. This is June of 2020. Now, I want you all to listen where they are. It says, as artificial intelligence continues to evolve, businesses are finding it can complete some very complicated tasks, like foretelling the world, foretelling the future. Have you seen the advance? You saw Sidera and the rest. Now they have elevated it. For the hospitality industry, one of the major ways AI is typically considered to be relevant is for guest interactions, such as answering FAQs. However, the technology has now come to the point where it can trick guests into thinking they were interacting with human staff members instead of AI-based software program. And like a human, AI now has the ability to actually learn and continuously improve. For hotels, this means that an AI-based solution can now become the primary point of contact with guests via any channel, phone chats, or social media. IPsoft Amelia is one example of this type of technology. To learn more about how she functions and how her technology could benefit the hospitality industry, we spoke with Jonathan Crane, Chief Commercial Officer of IPsoft. Question: what are some of Amelia's unique capabilities? What are some of Amelia's more unique capabilities? Answer: this is what Jonathan said. Amelia is the result of decades of research, including discrete mathematics, cognitive neuroscience, atomic systems, and embedded language models. We have developed her to be capable of understanding complex natural languages anticipating context, switching and recognizing intents human express in various ways, as well as users' emotional state. By using unique programming and algorithms, we have modeled her on human intelligence, understanding, and empathy. So, she is utilizing each of these human brains' 8 core cognitive skills to deliver unparalleled conversational capabilities. As a result, she surpassed more chatbots which only provide defined answers based on certain keywords, as well as RPA robots, which can only follow linear decision trees in every way. So have you seen the real improvement? That is it. And she can do what? Provide companionship. That brings me to the word of the music icon, superstar, Tiwa Savage. She said, if we remove sex from relationship, you will discover that most of we ladies have nothing to offer in relationship. Search your conscience. What else do you offer aside from sex? Remove money from a relationship and you will discover that over 90% of ladies won't see a reason to be in a relationship. We want our men to take care of us, but we add no value to their life other than sex and troubles. Let's change our mindset. Let's learn to be valuable in a relationship. Let's pray for them while they are down. Motivate them to hustle harder. Give them listening ears. Let's give them reasonable advice. Let's play a role of a mother in their life. So this is it. You see what the robots can do? So the actual natural woman is getting what? Is really getting extinct. So what is it? So we have now come, when it comes to Nigerian issues, there are some secrets I want to reveal, which is very, very important. Now, you see, most of the time, they are wiping out all certain officers, especially the Christian ones. When you go to all these Air Force people and all that, all this, they are super Tokano and all these super jets they are buying. The Fulanis, they are not intelligent. What they do, they send the Biafrans who are intelligent, the Satanás who are intelligent. Those ones will go and learn how to maintain those aircraft and how to fly it. By the time those ones come back, they will now translate their knowledge to whomever the Fulanis will bring that they trust. Immediately that knowledge is imparted. What will you see? You see air crash. They kill that certain officer that went there. That is how they have been eliminating us, and it's very, very important. When you go to now, Buhari have announced new security measures against the Southeast. Am I correct? What brought it? Go to Nnamdi Kalu's broadcast of 3rd of May 2021. Biafrans are lazy. They don't go anywhere. Go and listen to that broadcast. Nnamdi Kalu said he is going to bury Ikonso with 2,000 heads of army and police. That is what he said. And the Biafrans are contributing money for his what? Eastern Security Network. He's going to bury Ironsi with 2,000 heads of police and the army. I told you he's working for the Nigerian government. And it is based on this. And when you watch this Nnamdi Kalu broadcast, since that day, there has been an increase in the killing of policemen and army people. These people are killed by SWAT. The organization they call SWAT, that incorporated the Boko Haram jihad. It's a special squad, Boko Haram, all these Boko Haram commanders, that the Nigerian government comprises, composed, that are killing all these army and police people, mostly Satanás, to give them an excuse to do what? To carry out their jihad in the Southeast by doing what? Killing everybody, all the able young men and women they see, they kill them. And they have arranged for Buhari to have a press chat through Nnamdi Kalu. They have passed that order. They say that Buhari should come out. That is why you see that Dracula Falana coming to say Buhari must speak to Nigerians. They have been coaching him. I don't know what system they are going to put on him. They have been coaching him on some fufude questions and fufude answer he will respond to. So what they intend to do is to what? When that press conference is called, they will do what? They will plant journalists who will add that rehearsed questions to Buhari just to convince us that Buhari is still there. When I told you that they are using hologram, that was in part 10. Since that time, they cannot bring Buhari out because they know it's the truth. It's just like when part 11 came out. Have you seen IPOB doing? Every day it was fundraising. Are they doing fundraising again? because millions of people are listening and actually coming to believe that Nnamdi Kanu is a devil. People should go and listen to that question of answer of third man. Very, 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 very important. Very, 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 very important. Our people don't hear. That is why they get, they get into problem. So Nnamdi Kanu and Co, I'm not even bothered about them. I told you that we are traveling on the Mediterranean Autobahn. We are on what? Atlantic Superhighway. That is where we are. The journey is a very long journey. Long journey to the King's Express Highway. That is where we are. Just like the 10 virgins, 5 are foolish, 5 are wise. If you go to the trunk of my car, you see gallons of, liters, hundreds and hundreds of liters and liters and liters of extra gas or extra petrol, as they call it in Nigeria, in the trunk of my car, because the journey is far. Nnamdi Kanu and his anti-crime master, they are already traveling on their reserve tank. Their car is on reserve. They are traveling on the reserve tank, and the next refueling station we will have is hundreds of miles away. So they're already stuck on the highway. Forget about all these things. This altar I put here is where I trap all of them. Very soon, Nnamdi Kanu, you see them. They'll be littered on the road. That is the thing. So the difference between organic and non-organic, for those who don't know, is what? Conventional. Organic is conventional. That is the normal food. Food, it has to do with how foods, are produced. For example, organic food like vegetables, fruit, eggs, milk, and meat is produced without a synthetic. That is human-made, pesticide, and fertilizers. So the other ones are what? Man-made. They are synthetic. You understand me? So it says that the oppressor would not be so strong if we did not have, accomplices, among the oppressed. Someone